Welcome to the Human Evolution Podcast, where we explore the evolution of human consciousness in the modern world. I'm your host, Breanna. If you have been feeling emotional intensity or just challenge feeling your own emotions or potentially challenge holding space for others' emotions, then this episode is for you. I know for me recently, I have been feeling this emotional intensity and have been putting in extra work recently to process my own emotions on a daily basis. There was a time in my life where I did not have the tools to process everything I was feeling in a healthy manner. And that certainly led to the expression of emotions in unhealthy ways. Typically, our emotional patterns are rooted deep in our own childhood. So, depending on how your parents treated you when you expressed emotion or how they process their emotions themselves, that determined how you now process your emotions or your own emotional blueprint. We tend to fall in two camps. Either we suppress our emotions because we feel that it's not okay for us to express them, or we express them, but sometimes that can be expressed in a unhealthy manner. As you evolve as a human being, it is critically important to learn ways to process your emotions in healthy ways so that you are able to meet experiences with neutrality and that you are not triggered by sensation and react in ways that are unsupportive. Being a leader of your own life requires you to be able to process emotions in healthy ways. I know we have all been in situations where we have witnessed others express emotions in unhealthy ways, and it can feel incredibly uncomfortable and it can be incredibly damaging to people around them. The work of processing emotions is something that you have to do on a daily basis. Every single day, we are being exposed to sensation that evokes emotion within us. And every day, it is critical that you are processing that experience and processing the emotions around that experience so it doesn't build up and cause adverse reactions. I process emotions on a daily basis. I do this in my morning practice and also at night. I have been implementing this as well, given the amount of clients that I've been seeing on a daily basis and just running a business. There are so many emotions that are coming through my field on any given day. So, what exactly does this look like? In the Anya meditation method, we actually teach a process on processing emotion through meditation. And that's something that you can check out if you are interested in learning more. But there are a number of ways to process emotions in healthy ways. The first thing is to remember that emotions are simply energy in motion, meaning that an emotion that we feel is simply a sensation that is moving through our physical body, right? And so when we are exposed to stimuli in our environment, whether that be us like stubbing our toe or a thought that we think or a conversation that we have that influences us, all of those things, all of those sensations that we feel, they are simply energetic sensations. And you are who put a label on that emotion. So you say, I am feeling angry, or I am feeling sad, or whatever the label is on that emotion that you may be feeling. But at the core, these are just energetic sensations. And so you process them in the way that you would process energy, right? We have to allow these things to move through us. Again, at Anya, we teach a framework called AFMR, acknowledge, feel, move, release. And that is primarily the process that I use on a daily basis to process my own emotions. Whenever I feel a sensation arising, I'm acknowledging what that sensation is. I'm putting myself in the seat of witnessing that emotion. I'm then feeling that emotion, not avoiding it. or expressing it right away, I'm actually feeling and noticing, what does this sensation feel like in my physical body? Next, move. I'm moving that sensation in some way, whether that be through meditation in a somatic practice, whether it be moving my physical body. And then on the other side of moving an energetic sensation, you feel a natural release, right? If you cry or if you scream or if you have expressed and moved emotion before, then on the other side, you'll notice that there is a natural release. That's a natural part of human processing of energetic sensation that occurs. So this morning, for instance, I woke up and I had a dream that I was woken up in the middle of this dream and I was incredibly angry. And I hardly ever experience that type of intense dreaming, honestly, anymore. But it was very shocking to me. And I woke up in this state of just feeling absolutely infuriated. We process those things just like we would if they were happening in our real life, right? Our mind doesn't know the difference between what happens when we are visualizing something or whether we are experiencing it in a dream or whether it is actually happening in our day to day life. So it's incredibly important to process those emotions, even if it's something in a dream, so it doesn't stay stuck in your physical body. So I got up out of bed and I let myself feel angry. Anger and infuriation was what I was feeling this morning. And so I allowed myself to actually feel that sensation, notice it in my body without becoming overwhelmed by it, but feeling the full depth of that sensation. And then I walked outside and I physically screamed, physically screamed. And that can be a very, very emotionally charged thing to do yourself or to also witness from another human being. We're recording the podcast today. So Michael was here with me and he witnessed me screaming in this manner. And I remember the first time that I did this in front of him, it was incredibly jarring for him. It was incredibly it brought up a lot of emotions between the two of us because I was expressing myself in this manner and it had nothing to do with him. It was just about me processing my own emotions. And so I'll come back to that in just a moment around expressing emotions around other human beings and some of the challenges and things we can do to support one another in processing emotions in healthy ways. So this morning, I walked outside and I screamed multiple times. I stood up, I shook my physical body, and I did that until the sensation subsided, until I felt that natural release. And once I felt that natural release, I walked back inside and I took some more deep breaths. And I once again checked in with myself and noticed what was present for me. And in that moment, that had dissipated. So that's an example of how you can process your emotions on a daily basis. And when you process your emotions in that way, you are ensuring that emotional residue doesn't build up. So if this morning I had chosen not to go outside and process my anger, even though, right, nothing had really happened, it was just in a dream, that would have manifested in my physical body. It would have stayed stuck. That sensation is energy, and energy doesn't just go away. You can't create or destroy energy. It only transforms. And so if I had not done that, it would have manifested in other ways and it would have likely manifested throughout my day to day and influenced the way that I interacted with other human beings or the way that I was creating in my own work. So every single day, I invite you to think about how can you process your emotions in healthy ways. The AFMR framework, again, acknowledge, feel, move, release, is a great way to begin processing your emotions. And simply creating awareness of your emotions and what you're experiencing is also a great place to start. Like, just recognizing that emotions are not good or bad, they are simply sensation. And when you take that lens and view on emotions, you're then able to actually work with them and learn from them, and they become information for you to work with rather than something to avoid or something to react to. The last thing I want to touch on today is processing emotions around other human beings. So, we are all relational creatures, right? We connect and we relate to one another, and we do that through our emotions. When you're sitting with another human being, you can feel their energetic sensations. You can sense whether someone is in a good mood or a bad mood, and you might be able to sense what emotions they are actually feeling because we connect with one another through our own energy. So when you are processing or you are expressing an emotion, it's very easy to bring up that emotion in another human being, right? If you have ever witnessed or been around someone who is crying, it may bring up emotions or memories when you have had similar experiences in the past. And that can feel, again, incredibly uncomfortable. Or it can bring up the sensation of desiring to fix the situation. You want them to stop crying or you want them to stop screaming because it makes you feel uncomfortable. There's a lot more we could go into around this, around creating and holding space. But for today, I'll really leave you just with this awareness of recognizing in yourself or in others, when someone is expressing emotion, how does it make you feel? If someone cries, if someone screams, what does that bring up for you? And as you evolve and as your ability to work with emotions evolves, you are able to witness that sensation without becoming activated or triggered by it. You're able to hold the space for someone to process their own emotions, whether it be your partner or a family member, without it interfering with your own experience, with your own experience. And as you are expressing emotion, it is also important that you are doing that in healthy ways and letting others around you know what is happening and what you are doing. Right. So this morning when I went outside and screamed, I told Michael that that's what I was going to do so that he was aware that I was going to process my emotions in that way. And he knew it had nothing to do with him. There was no there was no charge around that experience for him because I had set the space and he knew what was going to happen. Right. As a society, we have to become more comfortable with people expressing emotion. Right? We are emotional beings, and so it is very natural for us to express emotion. Yet often the emotions that we see expressed are not expressed in healthy manners. Right? They're expressed from a place of hate or frustration or anger at other human beings instead of us taking responsibility for our own emotional experience. Right? No one is responsible for your own emotional experience but yourself. If someone makes you angry, if someone makes you sad, all of that is happening within your own physical body. And it is up to you to process that. It is up to you to create boundaries, to create space, to separate and move yourself away from situations. It's not their responsibility. It is yours. It's yours to process that. So today, I hope you are walking away with some new insight around how to process and work with emotions and a reminder to not let emotional residue build up. That processing your emotions is something that you have to do on a daily basis to ensure that you are able to meet the day and meet others from a place of neutrality and understanding and compassion. and that it is your responsibility to process your own emotional and energetic experience. With that, I'll see you soon.